output necessary, affect with which I can carry the sensate or sedate people in the room, I am so on. Crashing limit of my day, exhaustion, needed to dulled space and time, lash, post-work amp up for the willfully social, uncompensated entanglement, beat to the flip side of the day. Possessed, but have no property. They laugh when I say I take notice before cruising. Next noun, quantity words. Carnal without beast. Living labor adds amount. I near extinguished, measure of its exchangeability. Subject line, I want to fist you on the top of this mountain. Subject line, timesheet available, log hours. Subject line, forward provisions. Subject line, rapid action response group. Subject line, attendance sheet laid. Subject line, your Con Edison bill is ready. Subject line, jack-off booth. Subject line, preposition worksheet part 1. Subject line, menorah buttplug. Rend into alert, rend into fixate, rend into focus. To what degree to chemical induce into precision, to chemical induce into imprecision. Desire is blur of almost right there. Production in general is an abstraction, but a rational abstraction insofar as it really brings out and fixes the common element, and thus saves us repetition. What is required of me? What do I require to write this, track me, tracking myself same need? What is the procedure of my heat through which I can exceed? Endurance, fallen asleep by time of buzzer, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, to which set, to which stop, wrong, get off to walk the extra blocks in evening, perhaps pass by, I cannot choose, the want exceeds, I bleed, I want to bleed. Get packaged things, receive the assembled weather, assemble the received weather, weather the assemblage received. Prepackaged foods evokes the apocalyptic, evokes the I am so busy, evokes the always en route and always late. Where this fits into the history of shame, of flirting. Foreclosed sequence, preposition with no leeway for logistical failure, you lose a teetering minute. Social reproduction is a latex gloved hand. Gambit, loss again. I refuse to continue my remark, which means I refuse to acknowledge my need. Become a needless thing. Become alert, precise. I can take care of the day's demands and silence piling up insofar as avalanche constitutes an entire year, maybe more. I forgot how to count again. Exertion of energy becomes a suppression, repression of personal need. This exceed, bleeds out my boundaries, crosses my own picket line. Taper off the lump sum of want without fissure. Main text proper inhibit the flow of voice to voice, data to data, touch to touch. I cannot stand if I cannot stand alone, but I cannot stand if I cannot stand side by side. The situation and relation may shift, but the words remain the same. Physical orientation and reaction muddles it all. What honorific do I give you? Two is an approximation, though one more masks insanitization and desire to reduce the indescribable to its lowest common denominator of what we share. Sterile, disembodied kinship. Bound to a singular 24 hours, I want, if nothing more, than to expand the domain of the possible. A redux and generalization against form. I didn't know how easy it was, it would be. How pleasurable it was, it would be. Until we did it in our ambling, undirected ways. It is holding out. The felt impending crash and crack is not there. This time round, an unseated impulse cut off the wiring through which that electrical impulse of feeling typically allows itself to navigate. I ran into, is the refrain and upkeep of the day. In any case, in mythology, in no way is there a social development which excludes all mythological relations, epicycle, sentiment, thirst. First recognize, then learn. Cling to the exhaustion, felt and pushed beyond an amount of summer, that recurring that. Certain states reduced not merely to the rebel of my own language, but also repetition, and there I find myself rehearsing refrain. Rehearse, refrain. Post facto recognition of a particular feeling to a place, let me recall, I have not in so long. I recall, looking at myself in the mirror, sitting on the bed, writing not unlike how I am now writing, drinking my very drinks, the room red, and bed shallow, pale, light brown wood. I'm trying to recall the space empty, then filled, many events so sweat before bodies filed out and cannot preserve the same moment as gives way to why not activate the point at which I ceased recording. Reckoning, waiting, and bringing. has now receded, as it felt it never would, as I was certain it would, so graded, make felt from wall, so far uninstantly departive, resolves overburdened room, await a new one. I thought I wanted a different kind of making, but really I needed a card game, a convening with others without the exchange of capital or talk of work, replaced with a heightened recognition of my bodily need, a capacity to express ambiguity, a tending cordiality of hello without recognition, flower, overflow, creek muddy, not clouded. A kind of writing that necessitates, that produces a particular kind of dissemination, another that cannot begin yet to speak.